Hello everybody out there and welcome back to another Dark Avenger comic book review, and we are officially back, Mike.
Yep.
We're here. You're back in front of the camera.
Oh yeah, I'm not back of the camera. I'm in front of the camera, so that means you do. Yeah, we're here.
We're here back at the classic location. It's been months.
A lot.
Dare I say at least a half a year we haven't been in the classic table location, and my back is thanking me so much because I've officially got a chair again, and you've got a chair again. Background looks pretty much the same. There were a couple of additions, a couple of subtractions. We got some new things for the background, some old things. We got Batman on the what do you call it, the chair, and we're using the new camera, the web camera, instead of the digital camera, so we could see ourselves as we're recording this. So as Mike's holding up the pictures for the Digi, or as I'm holding up a comic book like this, I'm able to see exactly what the comic looks like. Though my head will be looking this way sometimes.
We gave away one of the physicals.
They could see it. It's on top.
Yeah,
right?
but we weren't supposed to do that yet. Follow the thing first. Okay, so
anyway,
start off with digital.
if you see, I'm just giving a disclaimer. If you see us looking this way at all, it's because we're checking the camera to see what you guys are seeing, so you guys can see the comics. But other than looking over to see about comics, we'll be looking straight at you guys for the rest of it.
Yep.
So
and these books were released.
I was gonna ask when they were released.
May 4th, 2016, the first week of May.
And we had a nice amount of books this week.
Yes, we did. So we're gonna start with you with Klaus, issue number 5.
A little closer.
Yeah.
A little closer.
I could try. Just go ahead.
We need to get a tablet. We're gonna get a tablet soon, guys. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah.
Or something that'll at least view bigger, maybe in my Nook. We'll see. But anyway, Klaus, I enjoyed it. I read it about a week ago. This review is a bit late. My indie books, looking down at those, I've read a few of them a week ago. Klaus was really good. So we find out more about the guy that married the girl that Klaus was in love with. He finally admits to his wife that there's been some dark forces involved and that he's kind of plagued by it, and then she kind of wants to get away, and he kind of turns on her saying, "Oh, for the good times you're with me, but now that I'm in the worst times, you're ready to run." Well, now there's going to be trouble. Klaus gets in trouble, he gets hurt, and the kid actually ends up saving him. This was a really good book. Grant Morrison. I'm actually surprised that I'm enjoying a Grant Morrison book. There's 2 issues to go, and it looks like Klaus and this guy are going to finally... by the end of next issue, I have a feeling that Klaus and... I keep forgetting the guy's name. They're going to end up face-to-face for the penultimate issue, and then we're going to get the finale in 2 months.
Vampirella, issue number 3.
I enjoyed Vampirella this month as well. We find out that the girl, we thought she was going to betray her. Turns out she tries to hypnotize Vampirella. It doesn't work. We find out who they're working for. And this person, we get her background later on in the book. And we find out she has a lot of pulls. She's immortal. She has this thing for killing people. And she considers Vampirella a capital P problem. So now she's going after Vampirella. And she doesn't care how many people die in order to get the message to Vampirella, in order for her to get to Vampirella, she'll do it. And we get to see Vampirella fight this monster that looks like something out of an 80s movie or a 70s movie. And now Vampirella is going to be facing off against this woman. I'm excited to see where this goes. Vampirella is going really well.
Alright. Back to the Future, Citizen Brown, issue number 1.
I'm giving this an honorable mention because this doesn't involve... This does not involve the ongoing series. This is a mini-series based off of the Telltale game. I started reading this book. The beginning was different, obviously. But then as the book continued forward, it started to seem familiar. And then we got to that woman with the newspaper. I forgot her name. Agatha or something like that. And I'm like, this looks like the Telltale game. Next thing you know, Marty goes back in time... And the Doc's in jail because he gets killed. And he has to break the Doc out of jail. And he bumps into the young version of the Doc. And it's up to that version of the Doc who has a drill in order to save future Doc from the jail. And I'm like, this is the game.
Yep.
And it actually ends. I know what the next issue is going to be. So I'll be giving this book honorable mentions. But if you played the Telltale game, you know Citizen Brown. If you did not play the Telltale game, it was very good. And if you have no intention in playing the Telltale game, buy Citizen Brown. It was a really good story.
Alright, and now it's my turn. This is a honorable mention, Gold Key Alliance issue number 2. Now, I know I read the first issue and I said it was good,
I
but
love how we're back where the flies are too, so apologies if you see me swatting. Apparently spring's here, and so does that bring the flies.
and summer's right around the corner as well. So, Gold Key Alliance, it's like a longer story. It's just like learning more about the team, them getting together, as well as trying to, stop Force and everything. It's kind of like learning about more of the characters rather than that, but really it's an honorable mention because it's just too long of a story for that. Now, this is a new one from Valiant.
And there's going to be a bunch of one-shots connected
There is.
to it.
I saw for next week. I couldn't get a cover of this, just this part, which is 4001 AD. Apparently, they had the free comic book day one, so I'm not really sure if that was I don't know. I just got this one. But basically, it falls along after the other, that book, I forgot what it was called, Ray, I think, R-A-I?
Rye.
Yeah, Rye, yeah. It's basically that, but it's about New Japan and Father, where Father wants to take over New Japan. So Rye is still on the island with the sidekick, I can't remember the name. But it's really setting a point where not only is it just New Japan they're going after, but the evolve of this dragon-like thing. So, you remember when you said that you were waiting for like dragons? Yeah, it's in this issue. So it's not what we all think when we see this one, but it really was great, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the EXO one, which I believe is next week, right?
I think so. I think that or the annuals next week.
Is it? I don't know. I gotta look into that. Angry Bird Comics issue number 5. The only thing I could say about these two books is that it almost follows the same thing where, of course, we know that the green pigs are trying to get the eggs from the angry birds, and it's up to the birds to get away from the pigs because the king wants to eat the eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the first story, these bluebirds try to learn this dance, and it causes like a huge thunderstorm, which causes like a water flood where the eggs go into the green pigs' fort, and of course the birds go there to take care of that.
Mm.
And then there was a second story I'm trying to remember where it's almost the same thing, but it's with a different scenario. So it's like basically the birds are trying to get the eggs back, but the second story, they were close to not getting them back. So that kept me on the edge of my seat. I'm really looking forward to reading next issue. I love reading those. Grimm Tales of Terror, issue number 7. The Tale of the Briefcase Killer. Now, the Briefcase Killer, basically what it is that there's this woman who finds a briefcase when he meets with this guy at the gas station. Mind you, her husband's coming out of jail after his anger issues. So she meets with this guy who goes somewhere and forgets his briefcase in the back seat. She drives away because, when a stranger comes and asks you where to go, you just drive away. You don't know what happens. But inside that briefcase is murder weapons of knives and stuff like that. And she winds up killing him because the briefcase possesses you to kill your loved one.
Wow.
And that's where it goes. And I love how in the end, it's like the same story, but it's with a different point of view. It's just really, it's bloody though. Definitely check that out. As well as Wonderland, issue number 47. This is the debut of Tweedledee and Tweedledum. No lie, seriously, Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
I believe you.
And this is like very graphic, where Tweedledee and Tweedledum's hideout is where they get people who are with their loved ones. They do loved ones these week in Xenoscope, where they have no food or water. The only food that they have is the other people. Basically like cannibals. And they use other people's foods to stay alive and this and that. It was just so graphic. And now Violet and Kylie got caught by them for the next issue. So that's going to be very interesting to see that part. Going into something else now. Insufferable On The Road, issue number 4. Now we saw in the last issue where oh god, why do I keep... Thank you. Galahad. No, not Galahad. The other guy.
Nocturnus.
I think it was Nocturnus.
The guy, the father.
Yeah.
Nocturnus.
Where he tries to stop this guy from killing himself.
I'm an issue behind now. That issue I didn't get to read yet.
So he stops the guy from killing himself, like saying, you know, think about your son. Would your son really like to see you do this? I think you should just turn yourself in for what you've done with the killing of... I can't remember his name. They didn't mention this issue. And you should just turn yourself in, which he does. And I thought that part... Yeah. Okay. And I thought that part of the issue was really that. But going to Galahad now... He is still alive because the one that hit his head wasn't like a real gun at all or something. Like it looked like that they did, but they didn't. So he goes after the killer, as you can see from the issue of, I believe this was a volume back where he met up with him.
Okay.
And he was going to kill him by throwing him out the window, and we thought he did, but he didn't. It was just like a little bit down further, but then got Nocturnus. See, that's what I like about this book. It teaches you how to bring a guy to justice other than killing and violence. Because violence is never the answer. And that's why I like this book. It teaches us that, and, you know.
It teaches.
It does, yeah. And I really enjoy this issue. Next one is Miss Fury, issue number 2. Now, is it just me, or do I feel that this issue was a little bit too much all over the place? Because it looked like it was going one direction out of the other, where Miss Fury's like at this... Yeah, it's okay. Where Miss Fury is at this hideout, and there's like this thing that she drinks that turns other people into like demonic creatures. Basically hallucinations, in other words. And it just goes through a whole spiel of going this way and then going that way. My mind was going in separate directions. I didn't know which way I was going. I'll give the next issue a try, though, because it is a fun issue. But do expect splitting headaches for that one. And finally from me, for the indies, The Spirit, issue number 10. Now, in The Spirit, issue number 10, is still the investigation that these two kids are looking for. They go to Pinky Pathers and some other guy who's an artist to basically find out the case about more about the Spirit and his whereabouts and stuff like that. Whereas the Spirit is trying to find his perfume that he smelled before from this woman that he met, and he asks actually his secretary to actually help him get with this woman. She's not really too crazy about that because she's in love with the Spirit, and you could actually see that. Now, remember in the last issue I said he went down that grave? It wasn't the Spirit. It was someone dressed as the Spirit that buried him underground. The guy with the shotgun, or the sniper, thought he killed him. Was not him. So, it's a real twist to this story, but definitely I'll be looking forward to reading the next one. Now we're going into the big two, starting with you again. A-Force, issue number 5.
New team, new direction, and I'm just not on board anymore. After reading this issue, I thought it was a good issue. I think that anybody who's interested in giving A-Force a try, I would definitely recommend getting into this issue. Personally, though, the art change really... I wasn't a fan of the art for this book, and the story with the Dazzler Thor just... It doesn't feel like the way A-Force was during Secret Wars, and even the first story arc for A-Force, it's one of those books where it could have been done a lot. It could have gone a different direction and it would have still been good. First arc I really enjoyed. This one I didn't like the first issue. So as we are going into DC Rebirth in less than 3 weeks after this review, this is definitely just one of those books I'm going to let go. I'm just... The artwork and the story...
Oh, there are books too for me.
The artwork and the story just aren't holding me, so I'm going to let A-Force go for now. If things get better, I'll come back.
Alright then. Black Widow, issue number 3.
I thought this was a nice issue. This issue, she's sent on a mission to find some paperwork in an orphanage where she grew up and how she learned to be an assassin. We get some nice flashbacks for Natasha. But again, this book, I feel like I went through it really, really quickly. I feel like I got through this book in like 5 minutes. I'm not cutting this book off of my reading list yet because it's really not that long of a read. But it's one of the characters that I'm really not into Black Widow, and as much as I love the team of Mark Waid and Chris Samney, unlike the Daredevil books or the Daredevil volumes they did with Black Widow, there's not as much of a connection, I guess, than there is with Daredevil at the moment. I could be wrong, and that's why I'm sticking with it. I'm going to see maybe if later on down, another issue or two, maybe I'll be like, okay, I'm glad I stuck with this. Because Daredevil, again, I read the first story arc in trade, so maybe I would have felt the same way with Daredevil if I didn't have the whole first story arc under my belt first. So I'm going to try to give it the good college boy first story arc before dropping.
Alright. Invincible Iron Man, issue number 9.
Moved it to digital. Invincible Iron Man, though, this week was pretty good. Again, Tony is thought dead. He's been missing for weeks after the events in the last issue of Invincible Iron Man. It turns out that apparently Rhodey's alive, though, and he's trying to find Tony. And all throughout this issue, he's going different places to try to find Tony. We get more on that girl that's making her own Iron Man suit. Friday is covering for Tony at Stark Industries. And then we find out at the end of the book, this is a bit of a spoiler here, Tony's not really dead. He's playing dead to find out where the person that tried to kill him is. So I'm guessing Spider-Man's okay as well.
Right.
But again, Mary Jane's still MIA. We know through another book this week that she will eventually take Tony Stark up on his offer to work for him. But as far as this book is concerned, she's MIA. You can skip that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Honorable mention for, you can show the cover,
Yeah.
Moon Knight 2. I read a little bit more of it. Again, I like the ending of the book, but this is something I think I'm going to more casually read than review, because it's a nice casual read, especially reading it slower. But as far as anything else, I'm good. Review-wise.
Nova issue number 7.
I feel like Nova, they don't know what they want to do with Nova anymore. So now Nova, starts to debate, I need to find my dad. And he finally comes to the realization, okay, no matter what, I need to leave and I'm not coming back home until I find him. And he goes off into space. And his mother, who's super cool about the whole thing, she supports him and she says, just please come back. He gets a message from the Nova in space. And he finally's had enough and he says, I'm going to find my dad. And he leaves, and as he's leaving, Iron Man's like, we can help you. And what makes me worry is the next issue is connected to Civil War II. So obviously Sam doesn't go off into space to find his dad, because Iron Man apparently is going to somehow deter him from leaving, at least right away. And it's his book. A lot of books are going to be connected to Secret Wars 2, which really, really annoys me, because this was one of the events I wanted to casually read and not feel like I have to read, I have to read the event. And slowly but surely, it's going into almost every single book I'm reading. And, I mean, we are getting the main event book, the main event book. But still, the fact that even if you're not into the event, Marvel's making sure that you're somehow in this event, whether it be reading the solo issues that you're reading or whatever. Yeah, that's kind of a little bit pushy when it comes to events, but they've done this so many times before, it's nothing new.
And finally, from you, Poe Dameron?
Yep, Star Wars Poe Dameron issue 2. I loved it. The artwork's really great. This is Poe Dameron's mission to find Luke Skywalker, and he finds out, he gets more information. However, the First Order is on his back, and they actually show up, and it looks like a lot of trouble is going to be coming Poe Dameron's way in the next issue. I'm really looking forward. Him and the Rogue Squadron end up taking on the First Order a little bit. I like this issue, I really do. I read this last week though, so I'm kind of a little sketchy on it, but I am enjoying it, and I will be back for the next issue. I definitely, if you're a fan of Force Awakens, if you like Poe Dameron and you want more, you'll be reading this miniseries. If you're not, you won't. Simple as that.
Okay then. On to me, The Amazing Spider-Man Silk, issue number 8 from Marvel Infinite Comics.
Meaning digital first.
Right, so therefore I get to see it first before it comes out in comic form. So basically, it's more focused on the girl. Like, they're trying to let the past girl know about the T-Rex and about that it's her father that was doing the whole thing. It's like, you know how when they say you change the past and sometimes it affects the future?
Mm-hmm.
They're trying not to let that happen because Spider-Man and Silk have to get back to their time. And I like how when they go back to their time, because, you know, Spider-Man and Silk were, you know, growing close towards one another. Like they look like they were going to get together. But I think when they went back in time, like Spider-Man and Silk were like saying, did you see that? I'm like saying, what thing? You know, because the Thunder was showing that they entered that. So, you know, and saying goodbye to Uncle Ben was actually heartfelt for Peter Parker as well, along with Silk and her family. So they get back there, but I think Hydra is going to play a huge part in this time zone. It's still to be continued. I mean, I don't know how many issues they're going, but this is going...
Yeah, if you're enjoying it.
I am enjoying it, so yeah. So, looking forward to seeing that. Now, this one I remember a little bit of. Spider-Gwen issue number 8. Now, if I can remember from this, it focuses...
We're gonna get better and get these reviews out a little bit earlier, so we won't forget.
I think it focuses more on Cindy Moon's story. You know, still about her parents and about
how
her...
she influenced Spider-Gwen, I think I remember hearing.
Yeah, like, basically, she influenced Spider-Gwen. Like, the story that was different with Spider-Gwen, like, you know how she got her powers? So they're saying about how getting her spider powers and seeing Silk as a hero influenced her to become her own superhero as Spider-Gwen. So if you want to find out more about Spider-Gwen's story, about how she became Spider-Gwen, you'll definitely read this book. But it's part of the Spider-Woman series.
It is, it's still part, yeah.
We'll be seeing that. And as well as the other Spider-Woman, she's back at her time zone with her child.
Universe.
Her universe, yeah.
Time zone.
I don't remember everything.
She was in the Western time zone. Now she's in the Eastern.
Yeehaw! Uncanny X-Men issue number 7.
Yeehaw!
Well, you said the Wild West.
No, I didn't. I said Western.
A Western Wild West. Anyway, I really don't know about this issue. Like, I want to like this issue with the Apocalypse War, but I'm really not because. I mean, they got rid of the 2-story thing. I mean, good thing for that. But it's focused more on Archangel, and then now they're actually facing... That's it. They're actually
there was
facing...
another picture after it, though.
It's on Facebook. Now you may forget. Yeah, so Apocalypse actually shows up in this issue, and they're about to fight Apocalypse. So... I'll look into it, but if I see boring stuff, I am not going to review it.
Rebirth's coming.
Yeah, and that's going to be part of my uncut
and I don't want,
thing.
Yeah, I don't want you guys to think that we're dropping only Marvel. I want you guys to understand, because I know you guys understand, but I want to make sure you guys truly understand. We're trying all the number ones, but I'm almost 100% sure, I'm 95% sure, out of all of the number ones, we will be dropping or letting go of certain books after issue 2. I've mentioned certain books that we had really no interest in. We're going to try them just to see where they go. But honestly, guys, I don't want you to think we're just dropping Marvel. When Rebirth happens, we're going to try everything, but that doesn't mean everything's going to stay. Things will be on the chop block.
Like, basically, we could just skip and miss it.
Right.
For that.
So don't think we're taking away Marvel now because DC's ending, but when DC starts up again, there will be books that we keep and books that will ride off into the sunset, or maybe we'll check out at a later date.
Alright, and finally, Thunderbolts, issue number 1.
I like that book. I like the artwork. It felt very 90s classic, and I enjoyed reading Bucky again.
Yeah, Bucky was a really interesting character.
I miss Bucky. He went off into freaking space and he disappeared.
Yeah, but actually he appears for this Thunderbolts team. Mm-hmm. And what I like about this issue is that, I mean, it is a little bit, you know...
You're Batman.
Can you give that back to me?
Why, you need it?
Yeah, I don't want...
Batman's holding it.
Whatever. Anyway.
He's Batman.
So in this book, it's a little bit hard to try to focus on the characters a little bit, but then it gets easier in time. That little girl in this issue, she's very funny. I can't remember what her name is, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, she just
the one that in
everything.
the end reaches into the guy and takes out his...
actually, it's Starstone. That was the woman.
Yeah.
Not the guy. That was a woman. Starstone is the woman.
Woman, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, in that scenario, just skipping towards the end now, basically, the Starstone makes her leader of the Thunderbolts. And then she threatens to Bucky saying, you want to be leader of the Thunderbolts, you're going to have to take the Starstone out. And apparently the girl comes out taking it seriously, and now she's the leader of the Thunderbolts. And she died, I guess, Starstone. I don't know.
She's not going to die.
She looked pretty much dead if you saw the last...
The girl's probably going to put the stone back, Mike.
Yeah, but if she's going to be leader of the Thunderbolts, that's going to be one crazy issue for the next one. But I'm really looking forward to reading it. I really enjoyed it.
Alright, so we're done with the digital, and we're starting with physical, and Mike's first again.
Yes, The Walking Dead, issue number 154.
This way.
Oh, I thought they could see it.
They can, but it's nice to give it... I mean, we were doing it in the room so much,
Alright, well,
you know?
I'm trying to get it. Anyway, in The Walking Dead, we see that Negan is growing a lot closer to getting to know the Whisperers after killing Brendan. Meanwhile, we have the word that Carl and Lydia could go back to town because they forgot about, what she is and everything. And thus comes Negan, the ever-so-swearing Negan. Still, I don't know how they're going to curb his language when they do this new series in October.
He won't curse. That's just it. He won't curse.
Basically, he's getting to learn about them because they want to kill Rick's group. And we all know Negan, he never turned over a new leaf, wants to do the same thing. Then we get Eugene, who's still talking to this other guy, or girl actually. Her name is Stephanie. And we get Carl, who wants to stay at the hilltop because he's loving his job over there. And then as the issue continues, the Whisperers they try to kidnap Michonne and what's his name? Can't remember what his name was.
Whatever his name was, it is.
Well, yeah.
Dwight? No.
No, the one that's in love with the one that fell in love with Eric. Or Jesus, is it? I don't know.
Whatever.
Well, anyway, they encounter with the Whisperers, and he actually gets stabbed.
Aaron,
yeah. Aaron gets stabbed, so that means I guess we lost a character. But Negan, let's just say after he meets with Alpha, he's in love. Negan in love with Alpha. To be continued. After just seeing that, I was just in shock saying, what did I just see? In a good way. In a good way.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 57. In the end of the last issue, somebody killed an Utrum. And it turns out that Honeycutt figured out who it was because that person ended up encountering with him. However, he got destroyed as well. And I knew from the end of the last issue who it was. I'm sure all of us readers knew who it was. So it becomes a mystery. And Leatherface talks about himself a little bit more. And him and the Turtles go off trying to figure out who killed the Utrums. Even though we all know, once again, who it was. You get some nice banter. It turns out that Honeycutt comes back online. But he isn't working at 100%. They want to know why Colonel... Carell hasn't been awoken yet. Krang is missing still. And we find out in the end who killed the Utrum. The Utrums. My pronunciations are horrible. And we all called it Leatherface. Mentions he has another confession. And what I'm really happy about is this issue was released a week late. So next episode for the weekly comic book call, which we will be recording probably tomorrow night, issue 58's out, so we'll see what happens next between Leatherface and the Turtles, because now that Leatherface has been shown to be the bad guy, what's next? I like this issue a lot. I'm going to throw this out there first and foremost and then go to your book. Superman, The Coming of the Superman, issue number 4. At this
I
point,
knew you were gonna
at
do
this
that.
point, man, I'm literally buying it just to finish the miniseries. I mean, you guys know I have to, I don't have to, but I want to have a complete Superman collection, and being that Superman is the one character I never miss anything on, I'm getting this book, but again, it's not something that I would recommend if you're not, if you really don't have to. Here's some artwork. Artwork is nice, but again, the story and sometimes the artwork gets a little sketchy. Just not into this one. This is not part of the new DCU, old DCU. It's its own little story, and to be quite honest, when this is over, I'll be pretty happy.
The final issue of Green Arrow, issue number 52.
52 issues. I have another 52. I have another. I think all of them. Yeah, I have 2 DC books, and they're both endings also.
Yeah, and Green Arrow had a great ending, and the artwork in this book. Let me show something that's much better.
I thought that was nice, but okay.
You want to show? All right. Right here. This artwork right here. So basically, we all see that Green Arrow is alive because Dr. Miracle's blood that was stabbed by Deathstroke actually didn't kill him, made him come alive again. So now they're going after Deathstroke, as well as the wolf-like creatures who are trying to find a cure to be human again. And we get some Green Arrow and
Amico.
Thank you. I almost forgot her name. Amico action. And they're using Dr. Miracle for this other doctor who is on the his deathbed, literally, because he's like 100 and some years old or whatever years old. And he just actually, Dr. Miracle uses it to cure the other people. Basically, the ones with the wolf syndromes, or tries to, and the ones that are wounded. So, it was just a great issue as Green Arrow and Miko just look far into the distance for more adventure. It is the end, but it was a good run for Green Arrow, all 52 issues.
Green Lantern, issue number 52, with the Sinestro variant, showing that he's back as a Sinestro Corps member. I enjoyed this issue. It was a nice ending. Since Sinestro went to... Oh, they have new DVDs coming out. I know I'm weird. I noticed the back. New DVDs. Since Hal Jordan has been a fugitive now, his friends have been taken by these people who are looking to get the bounty on Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan shows up to save his friends. It becomes this huge fight between him, this bounty hunter, and his group of his people. And the fight's awesome. Hal Jordan kind of almost loses himself again within the gauntlet as he becomes full green energy. And he's able to save his friends. And Trapper actually becomes a good guy in this, which I like. But in the end, after... I don't want to spoil how, but after, thanks to Trapper, he's able to get the bounty hunter and his people to leave, which the main bounty hunter threatened. He said, keep an eye, because execution, I'm going to execute you before anybody else, so make sure nobody else gets to you before me. Hal basically says, I'm leaving, and he leaves Trapper and the prince, Virgo, and says, because you guys are my friends, it's safer if I leave. And basically it just ends with him going off on a new mission. I guess it says here, to be continued in Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. So wherever this is going, I think this is going to play into Green Lantern Corps, Edge of Oblivion, and that's how Hal Jordan's going to bring the Green Lanterns back, maybe. I don't know. But this is the official end to Green Lantern, issue 52. Great 52 issues. There were ups and downs with Green Lantern since Jeff Johns left the book, but I feel like it wrapped up nicely. I'm really excited to see where Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps goes, as well as Green Lantern Corps. Alright, last DC book, and then we go into some Marvel. It's ironic that happened that way this week. Honestly, you guys know we don't do that too much anymore, but since DC's ending, a lot of the books ended up towards the bottom of the pile this week. Batman, Superman 32. They're in China now. They're tracking Superman's solar flare, and they track it to China, where they meet the Mighty Nine, I believe they're called. I'll tell you guys for sure in a minute. But there was a really great moment in the beginning. The Great 10, I'm sorry. There's a really great moment in this book where you get to see Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman working as a trinity finally. And I'm starting to feel the way Jay feels. I don't want to see the Superman die. And they end up fighting the Mighty 10 for a while. And then they find out, they go to this the scientist lab, and it turns out she has been trying to build a super soldier or whatever, and using Superman's solar flare, she finally was able to create one. And this is going to lead into new Supermen in DC Rebirth. But she ends up releasing the Superman. He runs away, and we find out that the other solar flare Superman is now in Metropolis and is with Lois. He wants to talk to Lois. And that's where the book ends, to be continued next week in Action Comics issue number 52. I believe we only have, one or two more? I think we have Superman 52 that will be left after this, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it'll go into Lois and Clark for the last part. But this is part 5, as you guys can see from the cover. So I'm enjoying this. At first I was kind of like, with the final days, but now I feel like the story's finally kind of picking up, which I'm enjoying. I'm glad. This is your last book.
Yep. The Punisher issue number 1. Finally, the Punisher is back in the new story arc. And in the first issue, the Punisher, as I could have figured, did not talk at all. But this actually has a funny twist to it. His friend who used to work with Olaf knows about the Punisher and what he's capable of, where these other agents are trying to keep cover of their drugs that they have. I mean, that had to be one of the stories. I do want to show some artwork. Yeah, this one right here. Just this page. So, the Punisher, just like I said, goes around killing people, as he always does. And Olaf wants to try to talk sense into him because, like I said, they worked in the military together. And he does do so when he gives him a file to look into that this guy named Face in the beginning asked Olaf to look into. And during this investigation, when they talk to Face, this last page is... you get to know why they call him Face. Let's just put it that way. And it looks like that Frank Castle is going to be the next target. I'm looking forward to the next issue.
Amazing Spider-Man issue number 12. Finally feels like a Spider-Man book kind of again. Mary Jane's back, but she's with Tony Stark. And there's another drive that's going on where Tony's there, Pete's there with Harry, and so is Liz and Alchemax, unfortunately. And of course, Liz sends Ghost after Pete again, and that's how the previous volume of Amazing Spider-Man ended, and that kind of annoyed me a bit. But then you have the bickering between Iron Man and Spider-Man, and then of course the eminent and what's the word I'm looking for? We knew it was coming. Team up between Iron Man and Spider-Man in order to take down Ghost. I love the back and forth between Iron Man and Pete. I love the back and forth between them and Ghost. And I love how there was a Ghostbuster reference made, and Tony Stark, or Iron Man, got the full credit for it instead of Spider-Man. And I love in the end where Pete's like, okay, you want to take my girl? I'm going to take yours. And he calls Pepper Potts, and it's the first time we see her in, forever. And he offers her a job, and she's like, no. I'm done with people like you. And we also get to see Regent. He's all throughout the book, but we actually get to see what he's planning. And it's basically going right back into oh God.
What?
The Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. It's going right back into the same thing where Regent basically wants to have all the superpowers, not just from the supervillains, but from the superheroes as well. And there are certain memories kicking in here, so I'm wondering if Renew Your Vows at some point might actually have an influence with Amazing Spider-Man. And then finally this week, Spider-Man 2099 issue number 10. A little bit more of Miguel and what's her name's mom is in the beginning of the book, and then Miguel finally gets information on the guy that escaped from 2099 as well as the woman who helped him escape. And we get to their lab. It turns out they're planning something. They even have Gloriana, which we saw at the end of the last issue. So Spidey is there, or Miguel's there, invisible, checking out what's going on, and then he gets discovered, and Gloriana and the woman, actually, it turns out they have their own portals, and they end up sending Miguel back to 2099, where we actually get to see the return of Venom 2099. And it looks like Miguel's kind of stuck in 2099 for the time being, and it turns out apparently that Alchemax is, and we get to see it in the beginning a little bit, it turns out Alchemax is huge in the future, in this dark future for some apparent reason. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on and how Miguel is going to fight his way back to the present, if he's going to get back to the present at all. And I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying this book a lot. I can't wait for the next issue. Spidey 29 and Amazing Spider-Man is back to being good, which I'm really happy about.
Yep.
And with that, that's it for this review, guys. You don't even have to get up because the camera control's right there.
Right over there, yeah.
So, guys, as always, there is going to be an update video, just a small, brief one, just to let you guys know what's going on with this channel. I doubt I'm going to do it. I might try to record it myself right after this video.
Yeah, because I'm getting tired. It's like 5 in the
Well,
morning.
this is, it's a small, it's going to be a very small, maybe 3 to 4 minute announcement video letting you guys know what's going to be going on this channel. You know, just catching you guys up on things that have already been announced about the move and everything and why and certain things I'm planning. Dark Avenger Live is going to be at still 10:05 on Friday. We're going to be doing the weekly comic book haul for the books that came out this past Wednesday tomorrow, as soon as I get all the digital stuff in hand. And then we will have the whole video for you guys tomorrow. Hopefully in the middle of the week-ish, we'll have the comic review.
Well, depending on if we could read our books all.
Right.
You know.
There's a lot of books. That's the thing. See, guys, we have so many books. And that's another reason why we want to cut.
Unless there are some books that I'm probably not going to bother reading and make honorable mentions. It really depends.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Till then, links in the description below. Check them out in your spare time. Comic Frontline, Zone 4 Podcast, Frontline Gaming Zone, Last Ember Press. Till then, guys, take care. Keep reading, keep collecting, and we'll see you guys real soon. Feel free to comment below your thoughts on any of the books we talked about here. Likes, dislikes, agree, disagree. Until then, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Later, everybody.